All right. Hello, everyone. Uh,
Hello.
Hi, happy Friday. I'm Kathleen Lambert, and I have my good friend Pauline Riley here with me today. If you come in, please say hello in the comments. And if you haven't clicked on the eCam Live to give them permission so we know who you are, please do that. But I am so excited to have Pauline Riley on today because she is doing amazing things on the iPad. I don't know if you've been following her, but on Pauline Riley Art and Design on Instagram, she puts up all these amazing things that she's doing. So today is Frock Friday. Yay!
Friday.
And that is the way Pauline has she's done her Instagram. She's so organized, and she created this. Yeah, you are. Well, and I like to say this too to everybody who doesn't already know that Pauline and I kind of started our art journey about the same time, and so I say that we have this little leapfrog game. If she learns something and then I try to do it, or I learn something and then she tries to do it, and we support each other and challenge each other, or not challenge. It's all just great
Yeah,
learning, and
yeah.
we're sharing what we know. But so one of the things that we had learned about was how to get organized on Instagram to start to promote your work. And one of the ways you can do that is have designated days to share different things. And you came up with Frock Friday. Why don't you tell us? Why don't we start there? Tell us about what Frock Friday is.
Well, Frog Friday actually started in the salon when we were still working, and Tanya, the lady, one of my closest friends, and I work together, and we have such a giggle. We have such a good friendship, and we'd both this day on a Friday. We used to manage to do this where we did have uniform. We managed to go in on the same thing. Wearing it, we'd not planned it. So anyway, this day we'd gone in, we both had frocks on, and Tanya said, "Oh, it's Frog Friday." And I was like, oh, that's really cool. That would be a really good hashtag for something. And I think I could draw a frog. And so that was how I started. And then um, because I use Procreate, I can go into there and then just add another layer over the top and change the dress really. So you get a different frock each week. And there's quite a lot of people follow it. There's a lady who has a dress shop because obviously it's not just it's not just to do with art, is it? So it's just good fun. Frock Friday, yeah, I love it.
It's kind of like paper dolls for grown-ups, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Absolutely, it is. You just put another frock on.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's digital, so it's so much more fun, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
it's a pattern that you created, right?
Yes,
Oh, I want
yeah,
to wear a pink dress today, or
yeah.
a blue
That's
dress
it.
today, and
Yeah.
I love the different designs that you've come up with for your frocks too, because they look like dresses that I would fantasize about wearing when I played with paper dolls and Barbie
Oh,
dolls and things like that. Um, I don't really have occasions to wear dresses these days. I
I
like
know
my
at the moment
flannels.
we don't, do we? Yeah. Hopefully, when we get back in the salon, the real life Frock Friday will start as well.
And when is that opening up?
April the 12th, so
Oh,
two
wow.
weeks. We're 2 weeks and 2 weeks and a weekend. So yeah, can't wait to get back in there. So
You're
Tanya and I will still have to work separately. That's all to do with the size of the room that we have. So but at least we'll be back in there, sort of thing. So yeah, that'll be great.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, I just got a bunch of comments. They just loaded here. So Juanita is here and she says hello, and Patricia is here
Hello,
saying
Anita.
hello. And oh yes, Juanita loved the paper dolls too when she was little. Yes. I know, so much fun.
So Patricia likes my accent.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's so much fun. Yeah, I do too. And every time I talk to you, Pauline, I think about getting out to see you. I so want to
Yeah.
be there in that whole English atmosphere. I've For those of you who don't know, I talk to Pauline every now and then, and one thing I've been sharing with her is watching Men in Kilts. They're the two guys from Outlander, if you ever watched that show, but Sam Hugan is one of them, and they go around Scotland, and uh, I just I'm enamored. I'm enamored with your accent and with the pictures when you put up that video outside your salon, the view of your
Oh, yeah,
streets. So much fun, and the pictures of
yeah.
you in Indiana walking out, to give your dog a walk and meet her friends and everything. So I'm right there with you, Patricia. And hi, Fiona.
Hi,
Looking.
Fiona.
um, okay, so what I wanted to share with people today is all the things that you've been doing, Pauline, on the iPad, because you have been doing a lot of designing on the iPad long before Illustrator even came out on the iPad, which was just last fall. But you've been working on the iPad for at least a couple of years now. So tell us just how that all started.
Well, I was desperate to have an iPad, and I was, I just at the time I just couldn't afford it, and it was just one of those things. It was on my list, and then I came to change my phone, and they had a really good deal that I could take an iPad as well. Obviously, you have to pay towards however much a month, and I said, oh well, I can do that, and it was only a little iPad Mini, but I did so much on it, and I still use it now because it's if we're going somewhere in the car, because at the moment we can't both go into a supermarket or whatever. I sit in the car and I sit and doodle on that while I'm while Jed's in there, sort of thing. And I watch the videos by Tina Cunningham from every Tuesday, and I just wanted to Skillshare, and I just kept practicing and learning, and my own drawing has come on heaps and bounds since I started with the iPad. With Procreate is the app that I use mostly, or until recently when I started doing all the Adobe Illustrator of the iPad as well. And because it works in layers, so you can maybe draw something, or I've maybe downloaded a picture of a flower, and then I can put a layer over it and practice my own, like tracing, I suppose, and add layers to that. And that's really how Frock Friday works. The frock is there. The frock we've been using for February and March has been there. I drew it back in end of January, and then I just changed the layer over the top. So with a pattern that I've done, or last year we did one for VE Day because we had Victory in Europe Day, the anniversary of that. So but I've got to say, I now draw every day on my iPad. I do draw most days with pen and paper, but I draw every day on my iPad, and I love it. I really love it, and I feel like it's really opened up. I feel like I've kind of found my home.
Do you have an iPad Pro?
I do now. Yes, Santa was very, very good to me this year. So I do.
Yeah.
But as I say, I still love my little iPad Mini. It was never a problem that the screen was tiny. I mean, now I love that I've got this big screen, but if the only thing I could have was my little Mini, I'd still be happy. So
Do you feel like you can draw as well on your Mini?
yeah, I suppose I've got used to the Pro, because to begin with, the Pro did seem huge, sort of after having the Mini. But yeah, I did. I still manage. I'm better drawing things that are small. I think that's because I was never confident at drawing, and one of those people that was told for so long that I couldn't, like at school, that I couldn't draw, and I listened instead of. And I never listen. I never do as I'm told. So why I listened to be told I couldn't draw, I don't know. So I always look, when I look to draw things, I always look at things that I think look simple and maybe don't have lots of lines, and can I make them smaller, and then increase as you get a bit more confidence. So
That's
so
that's
yeah.
the way I feel. But I start off with like a leaf or a swirl or something like that, and then especially with daisies, I love to get in there, and then I can
Do that. Yes, yeah.
the little detail, of the petals or something.
Mm.
And so, but I don't have a Mini, and I was wondering, does Procreate and Illustrator both work on the Mini as well?
Now I've got to say, I haven't actually tried Illustrator on the Mini. I will try that and let you all. I'll put it in the comments later. But yeah, Procreate works fine on there, because that was my first. When I found out that I might be to have one of these for a little bit extra charge on my phone bill, that was all I was interested in, was whether I'd be able to do Procreate on it. I had them download the app in the shop to see.
Right.
I'm thinking, otherwise I'm not bothered. I'll
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, I managed perfectly fine because I didn't have anything. I had nothing to mark it by. I suppose now when I go back on it, there's times it does seem small, but at the time that was great to me. I just managed fine. So
Oh, that's excellent. I have my iPad up, but it's gonna because Instagram only wants to do it this way. I can't get it to go that
yes, it
way.
does, doesn't it?
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
that funny? I think I'm gonna pull up your Instagram on my screen, so you might not
yeah.
see all of us. I just before we go to sharing my screen, I just want to say Patricia's saying what a great discipline. I think when you were talking about drawing every day, um, and Fiona also draws every day on hers, and she uses Procreate. Yeah, there are some wonderful tools on
Mm.
Procreate. So here is Pauline's Instagram. Can you all see my screen?
I
Pauline's
can see
Instagram.
it.
Okay. And so here is an example of Frock Friday. And what you're saying is you have this flower or this dress, just the same shape in there, and you just take the layer of your pattern and
And
just
layer
place
it
it
over
right
the
on
top.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you do
and
that
do
in
it as a
Procreate.
clipping mask so it just clips to that shape. And the reason I've used that pattern today, that pattern is Anne's pods and the Follett pods, because it was the first pattern I ever really created and finished on when I did Doodles to Dollars originally.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if any of you know, but I always name my patterns after friends or people that I know. Like I've got one called Sweet Peas, which is after you, Kathleen, when you were doing that that song about your mum and about peas in your soul.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I've got that. So this one is Anne, and I've just I've just ordered myself a clock so I can have San Francisco time, because I have to keep double checking. It was like today when I was coming on with you, I had to check and say, so is that 3 hours from now? I'm
Yeah.
paranoid that I'm not going to be in the right place at the right time. So
It
I've had
is.
myself a clock done that I put Anne's pattern on, and on the face I've written Anne's Universe. So I'm going to set the time on that
Yeah.
to wherever Anne is.
That's funny, right? Because yes, because Pauline just began as the community manager for Anne's Art Club, and that's Anne LaFollette for anybody who doesn't already know. But I can't imagine that you wouldn't know who we're talking about. And so, congratulations on that, Pauline.
Thank you.
And then this pattern is you've named Anne. Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's what you
that's
just said?
correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And so I do love this all it is all Anne's universe, but it Pauline's universe is a universe that kind of has a offshoot. Um
Yeah,
and
little shoot. Yeah.
Katia Galante is someone that is also in Anne's universe, and you have promoted her here, which is wonderful. And this is all the design work. Did you put these up, or did Katia design these?
They're Katya's. What I did is, it's like with yourself. In fact, I don't think I actually asked yourself. I think I just did it to promote you. And so I've started making sure I ask the person first,
Uh-huh.
and then I've just used their pictures to promote them on my site. And I always say how I met them. And apart from Jane, who was on last week, everyone else starts with, I met Kathleen through Anne Follett. I met Katia through Anne Follett.
Right.
But
Right.
but Jane last week, she was somebody different. I met her basically on Instagram. So yeah, and then I've just included a little bit about what I love about what they do, and then I put the link to their website in my link tree for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So if anybody happens to stumble along it, they can
That's so
go see.
nice. Right. That's so nice that you do that. And we do. And I mean, it's wonderful that we get to see everybody. Patricia said that she has a clock in her kitchen on Sweden time because
Oh yes.
we're taking Maria's course. And and right now it's been kind of confusing. Have you changed times? Do you do that in Wales?
Yeah, tomorrow we change times. Usually we're only about a week different to you, but this time it's like a couple of weeks you changed and we didn't. So yeah, I'll be glad, because then we'll be back to 8 hours. I think it must be 8 hours for Pacific time, and I'll be 5 hours with you. So so yeah, I'll have to have another clock then with Kathleen's universe.
So
it's like those films when you see, you know, time in Tokyo, time in
yes,
Zurich,
we're so
time in
cosmopolitan
London.
now, right? I mean, oh my gosh.
Oh.
Well, and Patricia's saying you're doing such a great job managing Anne's universe.
Oh, thank you. I'm loving it, and keeping into, and I can see how much time I must have spent, because, you know, I make sure I go in there and reply to people, and this, which is obviously that's what I'm doing, but and letting people in, and, you know, I let another 63 people in this morning and 30 this afternoon. So it's I'm loving it. It's great. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
And such an important universe to keep up, or a page to keep up,
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
obviously that's how we all met each other, you know.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
now tell me about this. Your question that you're asking your audience here is, have you tried the liquify tool in Procreate yet? And I have not. So tell us
Oh,
about this.
addictive, absolutely addictive. I watched, I can't think of the name of the guy now, but if you look on my Instagram and you scroll down, you'll find him. About 2-3 weeks ago, I stumbled across, I was watching something on Skillshare, I found this guy, and he does all sorts of amazing art with the liquify tool, far more complicated than mine is. But basically, it's like, you know, when you do that marble drawing, or even it reminds me of that pouring that you did, you know, that kind of like the first videos I watched of yours.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so it's like that. And so basically you put a load of colour on the page, different colours, and then you go into the liquify tool, and you can, like, when you put your pen on the pad, I'm kind of, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm imitating as I'm doing it here.
Yeah, let me open up Procreate on my iPad,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll share that, and you can like coach me through. Let me just get the orientation here. So okay, this is what we're gonna do. I got to figure out where I am on Ecamm to get my screen back here. Okay, so I'm gonna share this screen. Now you tell me where to go with Procreate.
So if you just open up a canvas
With the plus sign.
Yeah, with the plus sign. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
There you go. And then just layer down 2 or 3 colours, plenty of it, yeah?
Okay. So a bunch of this, like this?
Yeah, and another colour. Straight on top. Yeah. And then another one maybe below. Okay. A paler one maybe. Okay. And then if you go into let me think where it is, the tool beside the wrench.
Okay.
On the top, yeah.
Adjustments.
And you go down to liquify.
Okay.
Now those things at the bottom, like size and pressure and distortion, you can fiddle with. But if you, to begin with, if you just see it, you're actually on twirl left. If you put your pen on the screen.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
God. Oh my gosh.
And then
that's
you can move it around.
And you can move it around.
Yeah.
To get what you want.
What you want. And then if you touch push, if you move from twirl left to push.
Uh-huh.
And then literally put your pen on one side and push. There you go.
Wow. Look at that.
I mean, I think it's like therapy, even if it's not art, you know, it's yeah.
Cool. I can see what you mean by relaxing and addictive. Yeah. I mean, this is so zen.
It is very zen, isn't it?
Right.
And then pinch, if you press pinch and then touch somewhere, it'll bring those areas together. I mean, he does a whole class on.
Oh my gosh.
But, yeah. So, and then the other thing I discovered is you can change the colours. I then went back into the colours and just dropped a colour in, and it changed the whole. I think that one I originally shared yesterday was all greens, and then I changed one colour and it all, because obviously it must impact on the whole thing. So that's it. There you go. If you drop your colour in, drag it and drop it on from the screen. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
There you go. So you're adding colour again there now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and then yeah, neat. Oh my God,
Yeah.
it feels
So
so liquid. I mean, it just the way it moves so
yeah,
liquidy,
it's
like,
really intuitive, which I suppose Procreate that it is, isn't it? So it's yeah,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I could do this all day. I don't know if people
yeah.
really want to watch that though.
And you can as well, you can see there you've got resets, you can take it back to the beginning or reconstruct and it'll go back through each move that you made. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, there you go.
Wow. Edge.
I,
Yeah,
I do
that
think even if you didn't do it to make art, it's
Oh
very
yeah,
zen.
look at the crystal. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah,
The crystallized things. Look at
yeah.
that.
See, we've lost Kathleen now. That's
I
it.
know,
Now she's
right? Totally. I knew we would have fun today. I knew we would have.
absolutely. We always do.
Oh my gosh. That is so much fun. I can't even get the iPad off of here now. Let's see if I add me, add you,
There you
and then
go.
get rid of the iPad so that we can see each other. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I will. I'll
that's
sit
it.
there and do that. All day. That's so much fun. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That's so much fun that you do that. Yeah, I I see Procreate as like a fun tool, and I
yeah.
haven't really tried like because there's so many things like I love the paint splatter and the glitter. It's a brush. It's one of
Yes,
the
yeah.
brush effects or something. Um, but I haven't spent much time bringing things from Procreate into Illustrator. Is that where your workflow that you do a lot of your drawing and designing on Procreate and then bring it into Illustrator, even if it's on the
Yeah,
desktop?
yeah, I do. I mean, I am since doing your course, which has been fabulous, and I would encourage anybody to definitely to do it when you do it next time,
Thank you.
because for all I'm so comfortable with Procreate, I'm always keen to learn, and I want to be able to do. You know, I love Illustrator, so if I can use it on my iPad, that's brilliant. So it's made me things that I maybe would have drawn in Procreate. I now go and see what I can do, how I can draw that in Illustrator on the iPad. And I'm certainly not brilliant with the pen tool, but I've experimented a bit with that. Whereas on the desktop, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't even know what that tool's meant to do. It was
I
like,
know.
no,
What's the
no, it's not
point?
that.
Yeah.
Well, on the I maybe because it all looks simpler, there's so many less. I mean, there's still amazing stuff on there, but so many much less choices. So it's easier to just think, oh well, I'm just going to have a little try of that sort of thing. So and I love doing flowers on the Adobe Illustrator because I love that the way you can fill the pencil tool in, so it can create that. So it creates petal shapes and hearts. It's doddle, isn't it? It just does that, which is fabulous. So so I do that. I think the other thing it's made me use doing the Illustrator for the iPad has made me use Illustrator on my desktop for more other things. Like I know Anne said the other day about she does everything in Illustrator. She creates all like her graphics and her PDFs and everything. And I've been doing like when you've seen sometimes on my Instagram, you see I've maybe got a pattern in the background and then I've got a page with some writing on and I put a shadow behind it. And I've done all of that in Procreate. And some of that's because I didn't want to get up and go and start on my desktop. I wanted to carry on watching the film with Jed. So I found out I could do it with Procreate. And that's another reason maybe why I've got more confident because I've created like my opening times, the salon reopening. I did all of that within Procreate and created those files. But as I say, since doing Adobe Illustrator with the iPad, it made me do them in Illustrator. I've done some of them in the iPad and some of them on the desktop sort of thing. So I feel as though it's made me bring together my iPad and my desktop more. It's really, for all Procreate is a lot of what I use. It's made me use my Illustrator more because I've got more confident using, Illustrator for the iPad. So.
And do you find that it's easy enough to vectorize your because Procreate's not a vector-based program?
No, no. I still, if I've done sort of like detailed flowers and things, I've started on these flowers the other day when I really should be finishing off the skill clash I'm doing. But I started doing these, what I would call stick flowers that are really, really simple. And I did try to do them in the Illustrator, but I couldn't get away with that. So I just literally took them made them black and white, which was just adding another layer in Procreate and changing the colour to black and white. So I could do that and take them straight into the desktop and did it that way. But I probably will still use those now I've created those vectors, I can use them on the iPad and create my pattern that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder if you've ever tried to use Capture for like to take
Oh, I
something
love
from
Capture.
Procreate and then just bring it into Capture and
Yeah,
it
now I've not
vectorizes
thought
it.
about doing it. Yeah, I mean, I use Capture a lot. You set me off using Capture about 12 months ago. And for 12 months, I thought I could just do color palettes with it. And I was really thrilled with that.
And,
And then I discovered that I'd never moved off the color part. And so I was thrilled to bits that then I could take pictures with it. And like one I did the other day, I've taken a picture of church because we're working on, for a Rotary, I'm working on a notebook that will sell it around Christmas time, and it'll have images of historical Harden. Harden's got a lot of history, and so I've taken pictures of the church, of the post office, and I had created them from photographs, but of course Adobe now will do it where I do Adobe Capture, and it simplifies some of the lines, which is great. It's easier for me to then decide when I'm sort of doing like some kind of a trace of it, what to leave in and what to take out. Whereas obviously when I look at before I Procreate, I would look to the church like, I can't draw that unless I draw it as like a box. I wouldn't have been able to put any of the character into it. Whereas now with Procreate and Adobe Illustrator and a bit more confidence that I've got from drawing every day, then I feel I can do that sort of thing. So yeah, I love Adobe Capture.
That's a really good point. If you spend a lot of time on Capture, like I do, and what Pauline is saying here is that it's got the simplify tool, or sometimes it'll just simplify for you
Yeah,
because it's just way too big of a photograph or a file to save. So it will take out the things like there might be what Anne refers to as noise or
yeah,
lots of little dots. Like, so if your church is made of brick, for example, and the brick has a lot of texture on it, it might take some of that texture out, but you're still going to get the shape of the church. You're still maybe even going to get
yeah,
the outlines of the brick layers. um,
yeah,
and that might be something that you then will vectorize or
yeah,
draw if you like. And yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about Capture. You don't even have to use it to vectorize. Sometimes you just want to use it to trace,
yeah,
something so that you can get an idea of what you want to do with it.
yeah.
It's amazing what you can do on the iPad.
Absolutely, absolutely. But as I say, I thought it was hilarious that for 12 months I used Capture
Yeah,
purely for all my
just
colour palettes, which
for
is
your
great.
colors,
But I
right?
was happy with that.
Yeah.
Adobe could have sold me something else because I was quite happy that it did colour. I didn't realise it did all these other cool things. So
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's the funniest thing. Yeah, if you haven't used Capture, she's right. You just open Capture and you open your camera in Capture, and whatever you're looking at, you can take a picture of, or even just be showing it. I mean, you don't even have to take the picture, and all these little circles will appear to capture colors from
mm,
whatever your camera viewer is looking at. And so maybe you're taking a beautiful walk in a garden and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to have that purple of that flower. I need that for
mm,
uh, excuse me, for a design or pattern I'm making. And you can just capture the color themes, and then that automatically goes into your libraries where you can access that from Adobe Illustrator when you open it up on your desktop or on your
yeah.
iPad. That's the other cool thing. Have you been
Did,
using it from, I mean, like accessing it from there, or just playing
yes,
with it?
yeah. And the other thing that I did was I think it was quite a while ago now. I did I was obsessed with texture. I still am really, but and so when we had all the frost, I kept taking
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of this pond in the garden that had frozen because it looked different every day. And then suddenly I thought, oh, I wonder what it looks like with Capture. So I did it with Capture, and to be honest, it's like you said about all that noise. It is a lot
Mhm.
of noise, but actually, then that made a great texture to use in Adobe Illustrator as a texture pattern, or to use it on my Procreate as a layer and give it colour. And I've actually done a brush in Procreate now from that pattern that I took in the frost, so I love that the fact that I took the picture in, photos, and then I made it into a layer on Procreate. So I used that, and then I thought, oh, Capture. So then I went into Capture. How many programs that, I'm thinking, I never thought I could do all that stuff.
Yeah.
How many programs did I use? And then, but then the cool thing is we go right back round to the beginning, because now it's a brush in Procreate.
Yeah.
Vectorize and then back in. So it's,
That is so cool. I wanna pause here for a second, and if anybody has any questions for Pauline about how she's using these programs, or how you can become, I don't know, anything about Procreate, Adobe Illustrator, Capture, any of the things that she's doing, please go ahead and ask in the comments so that we make sure that we have time to answer those. And also that Patricia is saying that she has Adobe Capture and Adobe Draw, but you don't know how to send it to AI so that you can use it on the laptop. I could answer that, but Pauline, how would you do that?
So if I took some on Adobe Capture, I think then I go into, this is testing me now because you did this in your class.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
I
no,
could
no,
answer
I know you didn't, but you think, no, I should know this, I should know this. So if I've taken it on Adobe Capture and then I can save it. So I think if I try and decide if I'm saving it, I'm going to save it as a vector, I've set myself a folder up I've just called image trace. And then I go into Illustrator on the iPad, and I can go into, what do I go into? Creative. Oh, I've lost it. Kathleen, you put me right.
Here, I'll just show my iPad again for a second here. Patricia, I gotta get out of Procreate.
I couldn't think what it was called.
If I have something, this is Capture. I just opened up Capture, and you see all the this is shapes, which is how you vectorize things. You need to take pictures of something in shapes. But right now what it's showing is my library. So you see this, I just took a picture. Oh, I'm trying to click on it on my computer instead of my iPad. But this is already in my library. When I go to down here and it says export as, I could save it to camera roll, or I could export it as whatever. Let me see something. Well, I'll go back to, I'm going to take a picture of, this is my computer here. It's kind of silly looking right now, but we can do whatever we want, but I'm just going to press save. I mean, like, you could refine or you could crop. And do you see how it says save to? Choose a Creative Cloud library to save your shape and access it in other Adobe apps. I have a folder created motifs, and so that's usually where I save things that I make in Capture. Unless I was doing like what Pauline was talking about, colors, then I want to save it in my colors. So I just press, you can press this little thing on the side here that says open in Illustrator or Photoshop. If I do that, it will open on my desktop. You can't open it in Illustrator on your iPad yet. That hasn't come to the iPad, but it'll go right to your desktop and open it right up. Or you can press save and it's automatically in your libraries, so that if I open up Illustrator and I just made this recording in progress so everybody would be quiet around me. I'll just open that up for the fun of it. And then this image right here, this import, you see how it has libraries? And if I go down to motifs, all those things that I just did are in my motifs. So that picture that I just took should be down there. Oh, there it is. See that picture I just took of my computer? It's right there. So that might take a second on your iPad, or depending on your internet connection. So if you don't find it automatically, just maybe give it a minute or two. but it's right there in your libraries, and it's the same thing when you open it on the desktop. So that's how I do things. I don't know for sure. Pauline may have a little bit different workflow, but that's what I
No,
mean. Just
that is what I
seamless.
do. Yeah, that is what I do. I was getting mixed up with Creative Cloud, but if you're already in your in there, you don't need to, because it's like you say, you've already saved it into your library, haven't you? So
Yeah, and Creative Cloud is another thing that that's where everything is housed. And we talk about this in my course, Patricia. If you're going to be working on the iPad, I talk all about Creative Cloud because I don't know that Creative Cloud was such a big deal before I started using my iPad. I don't know, or even Illustrator on the iPad, really. I knew that Creative Cloud was there, and that if I was drawing like with AstroPad or whatever, I guess maybe Capture, that I needed to have Creative Cloud open in order to send it to my desktop. But I didn't really use Creative Cloud much besides that. Now I've looked into Creative Cloud, and we've discovered that it's like a huge warehouse for all your files and for your cloud
yeah.
documents and for your libraries, which is a whole other ball of wax. We had to figure all that out. It's kind of complicated, but you can access it. I just go to your libraries in Adobe Illustrator, either on your desktop or um, your iPad. So,
Well, what was amazed me, I didn't realise I had Creative Cloud on my iPad until I did Adobe Illustrator for the iPad, because I think I thought everything was just in there on my desktop. Because on my desktop, probably like you, it just sits like at the top of your screen, doesn't it? And it tells you it's going to update or whatever. And then this day, and I thought, I wonder if it's on there. It's like, oh, a whole other thing I discovered.
yeah, yeah. Isn't that cool? I know. I like I said, I don't even know if I thought about it. It was
Yeah.
like you said, it's just this little infinity symbol or little cloud,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
way up at the top of my computer. Never really thought about it, but now there's an app. So it's a website and it's an app. So you can access it through Safari or whatever you use, Chrome or whatever your
Yeah.
browser is, and but you can also get the app, and I have the app both on my computer and on my iPad. Um, there's so much, and we wouldn't know all this if we didn't learn from each other. I mean, that's
Oh, absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
this community so much because we're constantly learning. Like I would never have even thought to open up Procreate to use that liquify tool. But now when my family is bugging me, I'm just going to go in my
Yeah.
bedroom and use the liquify tool and come
Just go in
back.
the zone. I mean, before I did all of this that we do now, I looked sort of online about doing, because like Jed's actually retired now through all of the COVID. He ended up being made redundant, which suited the age of the years. It suited,
Oh, that's
and
good.
that was fine. And he's wanting to go on to study some history, which I think he's going to do online. And of course, he'd been talking about not that he thought he was going to retire so soon, but that when he retired, he wants to study history. And I kept thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And I was into my drawing and my craft and stuff, but and I'd looked online at different classes and what I could, looking at graphic design. I'm thinking, but I don't even really know what it was. It was like I wanted to be part of it, but I didn't quite know what I needed to do. And so I'd sort of, and then of course, then Anne the Follett comes along and takes us into Anne's universe. And it's like I found my path. It's not that I want to design websites, so I don't need to be a graphic designer, but I can design the things that I want to design, and I can draw things and make them into design. So I do love the way sometimes your path opens out in front of you. You're trolling through the forest and you can't see the wood for the trees, and then you come out into the daylight and the big field and it's all there. So
Oh, it's what a great image. That's exactly the way I feel about things.
mm,
It just take the walk.
yeah,
Just put one foot in front of the other and take the walk.
yeah,
Start the journey and the path opens up in front of you. That's exactly it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly it.
yeah.
Well,
That's
you
great.
mentioned your Skillshare classes. Let's talk about that. Do you want me to go on to Skillshare and share my screen, or do you want to just start talking about? You already
Yeah, I
have.
mean, there is the Skillshare class that I did last year on there, which was, and I was just getting into Procreate then. And I think I was, so you probably can tell in it, I'm so amazed by it. And then I still back then felt like I couldn't draw. So I think I was trying to share to people, you know, not the people who I thought already could draw, not that you can't use it, but what you could do, you know. So with someone basic like me, we could draw a loop, and you could, you know, copy a letter. Then I could create the letters with designs inside, like you'd done some on your in your libraries. And so that's where they were. I did a letter P, I did all sorts of letters, and they would have flowers in or daisies or whatever. And I literally broke it down and showed people. So it'd be ideal for somebody who was new to Procreate and new to drawing, how to do that. And then so now I've done a lot more. I've learned a lot more. Not that I know it by any means, but it was that I wanted to be able to show that I was somebody who thought I couldn't draw, and how I'd improve my drawing with Procreate, to be able to share that. But still, for people who feel they can draw and don't need that, it's the other side of all the things that you can do within Procreate, and all that, you know, all of that about layers and clipping masks and putting your motifs in there and your designs and things. So that's what this class is about. But I have included a basics, you know, for anyone who's literally just their iPad's just arrived. And so there's basics in there about things like, you know, the 2-finger tap to go back a step, and all of those sort of things. I've done a section on that. So, and again, if you already know that, then, you know, you don't need to do that section. But yeah, so that's what this is really about. And it's simple drawing in Procreate. That's what I've called it. So
Okay, I'm since my husband reloaded my computer, uh my I have to, like, everything, it doesn't remember any of my passwords or anything. So it cannot find my Skillshare account.
okay.
So yeah, that may take a minute for me to try
Yeah.
to do that. But let me write in the comments here. Tell me the name of your first Skillshare class was called what?
Illustrating a letter in Procreate.
Illustrating a letter in Procreate.
Procreate.
And then your second class,
Is simple Procreate drawing.
simple Procreate drawing. And you're just Pauline Riley in Skillshare?
Pauline Riley Art and Design.
Okay, let me write that down. Pauline Riley Art and Design. And then you're now working on a third class. Is that right?
I am. That's right, and that'll be coming. That's sort of autumn time, so that's something I want to be able to offer to through my website, a bit like you've done with your class. So I've still got a lot of work to do. That it's barely past I've kind of done the brain dump of all the things I want to do, and I'm not here to get it all in one class, but and it'll be along those lines still. But I want to incorporate Illustrator and sort of show some of my workflow and how you can put the two together, really. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, is that I don't know what, I guess it's like whatever strikes our fancy, and you're going off in one direction, I'm going off in another, and Maria's got, the watercolor, and Denise had some wonderful things to share, earlier today, and
Her website idea sounds fabulous.
oh, I love the idea of like a artist's co-op heaven,
Yeah.
just come in and decide where you need to go, and um, it's awesome, and then oh, Jane Foster and all the amazing things that she's doing, of course, what Anne's doing, um, and so it's great because like I said, I don't know that much about Procreate. I don't work. I mean, I guess I got scared off of Procreate in the beginning when I was just learning about vector, and
Yes. Yeah.
so I didn't want to spend too much time in Procreate. But then you've shown us how you can do so much of your design work in Procreate and get
Mm.
so much more, I want to say, depth and character to your patterns because and all your designs, because there are so many great effects in whether it's the effects or it's the brushes or you know now there's layers in Illustrator, but I mean and that's really important I think for a lot of these things
Yes, yeah.
stuff. Do you talk about like Tila had I had learned from Tila the clipping mask? Do you talk about doing that because it's a
Yes,
bit
yeah.
different?
Uh, yeah, I love a clipping mask. I couldn't live without a clipping mask. Years ago, I wouldn't know what a clipping mask was. And it, but yeah, so and so we've done some work in there in the class, which will be where I've maybe taken a photograph, or maybe that texture, that frost one, and laid it on top of an image like the dress, and then you kind of knock back, you reduce down the opacity, so you see the colour from underneath, but you get that design of that effect of the texture. So there's that, and also how you can apply, just put another layer over that dress and then use a brush. I mean, Procreate has masses of brushes that they give you that is already part of and that create great textures in themselves. So we could still apply that as a clipping mask and it would literally just go over that area of the drawing. So yeah, I think the other big thing about Procreate for me, for what it's done for me, is I feel as though I can sort of see some of my style now. And I think that's because I've worked a lot in Procreate, and I suppose I maybe use the same brushes, and I've got all my color palettes organized. So when I look at things, I kind of look and think, when I see the page on Instagram when you showed it all there, I thought, oh yeah, I can see a bit of a style emerging really. And I don't know, not that there's any rush, but I don't know if I would have seen that when I just use pen and paper, which I love to use pen and paper, but I think it's helped me develop my style a little bit more.
And your color palette too. I mean I don't
Yeah,
know if you feel that, but I see when I open up your Instagram lots of pinks and purples
yeah,
and pinks and purples mainly, but then also blue. I love the one pattern that you did for Frock Friday one time that was blue. It was just they were just gorgeous, like
it's like a
Cinderella's.
midnight blue, I think, was it? Yeah,
Yeah, it was a real rich blue. Juanita's asking about, oh, well, she said you just explained it. The
oh,
clipping mask. Do you understand a clipping mask is if you had like a cutout? I'm trying to see, like, okay, so here's my palette, and if I wanted to put a pattern in that hole, this is the clipping mask, so I could have a square pattern. If I had something here like this, is the clipping mask
yeah,
this would be the clipping mask so that you can fill a shape so um Pauline does that with the frocks on Frock Friday, so she just uses that frock as a clipping mask over her pattern and fills that shape with the pattern, and an amazing thing. But then you started talking about some really complicated, I think complicated things about changing the opacity and the different blending of the colors and the layers and the but I'm sure you explain all that in your
yeah,
Skillshare
yeah. I've
classes.
tried to, and I think that's why it's taken me longer than I thought to do this Skillshare class, because I keep thinking, oh, I must include that, I must include that. So the other night I'd gone through and I'd started like breaking up so I can do my voiceover for my for the for the for the class, because I can't do, I don't know if you, like you say with Tila, I mean I know she's obviously been doing it forever and she is a graphic designer, but she will draw and talk at the same time, and I couldn't do that. I need to do all my drawing and then I leave a gap when I'm recording so that I can then go back and split it off and talk about just that bit that I've done. So
Oh, we have to
which is
talk,
great. So
Pauline. Yeah, you and I need to talk because we could talk for hours, but that's the same sort of thing. And we could bring Maria in too, because if you've been taking her course, you'll see she'll say something like, I was I was gonna talk through this, and then I realized I couldn't do it and talk at the same time. And so
yeah,
she just fast forwards and we get to watch her draw, and then she
yeah,
talks to us. But it's a hard thing to do.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah,
hard thing to do, all of us who are making videos. And I'm sure we're going to
yeah.
see all that from everybody who's on, Juanita and Patricia and Fiona and everybody that is part of this. Um, So Patricia's saying, so basically that's what Denise used on her first doodle flowers that she showed us. Yes, exactly. So she had her
Yeah.
pattern in the petals of her flower.
Yeah.
That's a clipping mask. That's exactly what she did. She just kind of dropped the pattern into that shape. In the shape is the clipping mask. So it's like your fill color. Instead of a fill color, you're putting a pattern in. But
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in
That's it. That's
Procreate,
it. Yeah.
you actually it feels more intuitive, like placing one thing over another. It just feels
Yeah.
like that more than dropping the pattern into the I
Mm.
feel like in Illustrator it feels like I'm doing it this way, whereas in
Yes, in
Procreate it feels like I'm
Illustrator, I
doing it
couldn't,
this way.
but it's only recently I've conquered being able to do clipping masks in Illustrator. And I think it's because then I finally understood what I was really doing. But like you say, in Procreate, it is simpler to understand because you can look at the layers and you know the bottom layer is maybe the dress, and you're putting the other layer over the top and clipping it to that. So it's only on that part. Whereas in Illustrator, I would do, and it would say, you can't make an Illustrator, you can't make a clipping mask with blah, blah, blah. And I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
well, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
So
I know,
I
right?
can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. So we all have to learn these things, and
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but and the programs are different and they have
Yeah.
different effects, and
Yeah.
it's really really cool. It's
And maybe
really
it's a language thing. That obviously Adobe Illustrator has been around, like, forever or a very long time. And Procreate is still sort of relatively new. So it's some of its language is more, and I don't know if modern's a modern word to say anymore, but more, it's easier, it's shorter, whereas some of the Adobe Illustrator, it's probably the words that the people that actually wrote the program used, and that's why they called things what they did. Because sometimes in Illustrator I think, why is that called that? What I don't know what that means.
yeah,
Whereas
right.
so often in Procreate, I find it for me a little bit simpler to understand. But that what helped me with Illustrator was the way that Anne taught it. That that we literally, to begin with, she said, just forget about everything else. Just do the things I'm telling you, and it'll work. And it did.
Yeah.
And then as we've all got a bit better at it, it's like, oh, well, I can try this or I can try that. But to begin with, you need to just kind of do as you're told a bit. So
You're so right. For so long I didn't use the right terminology because it was just sort of, it's the thing on the left,
yes.
or the the one the thing with all the little shapes in it, that's that, but to and because Procreate is more, I guess the word is intuitive, but like you
Yeah.
said, I mean, like even on that liquify tool, I mean, like I don't think there's a liquify tool in Adobe Illustrator because that wasn't probably industry standard
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
graphic design then. And then pinch, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
exactly what it's doing.
What it
It's like it's
does. Yeah.
pinching it
Yeah.
together. Uh, but is that the actual name of that kind of
Yeah.
feature? Who knows? Who
Yeah.
cares? Because
It's like when I always think in Illustrator, I always think the image trace tool looks like a globe, like a
yes,
globe you'd have in, and I think, I don't know, but I always think, oh, there's the image, it looks like a globe. Now, if I looked at it properly, I maybe would understand what it's actually meant to be. But I just think, yeah, the globe, that's image trace.
that's so right. Why is it a globe? I mean, I don't know what it's actually doing. I mean, I imagine it's kind of tracing, like it says, like it's
Yeah,
the old fashioned way of tracing
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but why is it a globe? That doesn't
yeah.
make
There
any
you go.
sense
One
at
of the
all.
mysteries of life.
That's what we're here
Answers on a
for, to solve all the
postcard.
mysteries of life on
Yeah.
Adobe Illustrator and Procreate. Stay tuned next week for
Yeah, yeah.
we'll finally
Mm.
figure out how to use the pen tool. Why is it called a pen tool? You don't like write
No,
with
it is
it.
nothing like a pen.
It's nothing like a
I've never
pen.
had a pen with those handles on the side. I mean,
Right? I don't have handles on any pen I
no,
have.
you'd never get that in your pencil case, would you?
Oh
Oh
my gosh.
dear.
That's too funny. Oh, we're having too much fun. Oh my gosh. What do you have planned for the rest of your evening, Pauline?
I've got a glass of red planned for the rest of my evening, because it's what time? It's getting up to 7 o'clock here, so not late by any means, but definitely glass of red wine time. So I've had a
Awesome.
lovely day. So yeah, top it off nicely.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any more questions? In the last minute or two, and or do Pauline, do you have anything else that you want to say to everybody?
No, I think I'm just, it's lovely to see all everybody's messages and comments and that, and that's lovely. But no, I think I've said enough, to be honest.
You'll be talking plenty to people in Anne's art club,
Yeah,
managing and putting up all the wonderful graphics and
yeah,
commenting to everyone and welcoming everyone, which
yeah.
is a fun job to have.
Absolutely, yeah. It's lovely, lovely,
And I
really
certainly
good.
want to wish you well with your new business, or when your business opens up anew. Yeah, wine time, Fiona says.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's on my timeline.
Yeah, and we're cheering here. I'll raise a cup of coffee to you. Here's to you, Pauline.
Cheers. I'm gonna swap my
Cheers.
Diet Coke for red wine.
Oh, and Juanita really enjoyed
That's,
things.
thank you,
Oh,
Anita.
well, and we enjoy having you, Juanita, and all everybody. It's just so exciting. So thank you all for coming and joining us today. I love talking with Pauline. So much fun. You know so much, and your ideas are just. I love it. I just absolutely love it.
Oh,
All right. Well, I will
thank you,
see you
Kathleen.
all back here next week when I go live again. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Oh,
Take
hi, Pamela.
care.
We'll see you later. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Pamela.
Bye bye.
Bye.